You know, it's so interesting that we had 3,500 people here last night for a sold-out show of Pavement, and the crew finished at about 3:30 this morning, turned it around for this morning, and it might work just fine then, but there must be something about when the mics don't work. Thank you, Timmy, for running around. I appreciate it immensely. And welcome to everybody here today. It's a real honor and a pleasure to have you all here. Most of you in this room I know pretty darn well over these past many years. And today we're here to reintroduce FARHOF, the Folk Americana Roots Hall of Fame, here at the Bach Center. I use three words to describe what we're doing: educate, educate, and educate. We all believe in this room that the arts and music keeps us a civilized society. The Bach Center, a nonprofit innovator, and our mission is not just to be a place for the performing arts, but a leader that celebrates the past and nurtures the future. We started FARHOF in 2019 with phase one, which included the music hall that you all will go and see downstairs, and many of you have been there. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we had a kickoff gala right here in the grand lobby, and many of you were at that gala, which was really sensational. I want to remind everybody in the room, not only did Mr. Santelli told me this, but so did my friend Kyle Young at the Country Music Hall of Fame, or Henry at the National Museum of African American Music, or Terry, ex-CEO of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what they told? They said, whatever you do, Joe, don't build a building. You save $150 to $200 million that you can have to spend in order to do that, and don't do that. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what an interesting idea. And we came back and we said, wow, why don't we put it right in a theater that we actually own? A National Historic Landmark. A theater that does a diversity of kinds of entertainment that really signify what we're all about, with an education program that is bar none one of the finest in the country. I remember what Terry said to me, and I told this to Bob recently. When I told him we were moving ahead here, he sent me a quote. The quote was, "Amen, amen, amen, you listen well, grasshopper." However, on March 20th, 2020, we were forced to close due to COVID. Many of you in this room know that my wife and I had it very bad early in March. But more importantly, we didn't stop to rest. We went to work knowing that we were now going to be closed, we thought for a year, turned out to be 2 years plus. But during that time, we know that we never want to be closed again, so we did all the things that we thought we would need to do in order to have a day like today. So this afternoon, when you go to the different floors on 3 and 4, or you want to go to the lower lobby to look at the music hall or the cultural heroes, and to then take a stroll backstage, you ride a new elevator. They're 100-year-old elevators, and imagine, not many years ago, they didn't put the elevator to the lower lobby. Well, if you're going to run a Hall of Fame, you got to take people on tours, and you got to go up and down. So we did that. It took 2.5 years to get done. We also did tours. We kept tours going in this building. Scott did them all by Zoom until he could get back in person. And it turned out to be very successful. We created a series called the Ghostlight Series that many of you know and have watched, and it was a very big success. We built new exhibit spaces backstage, which you get a chance to see today. We added the cultural heroes downstairs, which I think is a testament to what we believe in. And we created a new website that launches in about 2 weeks. The press release in your packets today show you what you will see today. Phase 2. All right, so there's Boston, a music town, on the 3rd floor. The Wang Theater, a century of great music, on the 4th floor. The music hall, which has been refreshed by David Bieber Archives. The cultural heroes, and let me just tell you on the cultural heroes, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I can't remember, Paste magazine, Live on the Road, came here and did live streaming live in our lower lobby amongst the cultural heroes. The three that were featured were Woody Guthrie, Bessie Smith, Lead Belly, and Billie Holiday. And the lead act was none other than a Boston band called the Dropkick Murphys. And if you don't know, the Dropkick Murphys are releasing a new album, and it's an acoustic album. And all the lyrics and the songs are of Woody Guthrie. And it's absolutely fantastic, along with the Steel Drivers and along with Terry Ann Covington, a jazz artist drummer that we all know as a Boston woman. We were now been seen by over 35,000 people on views at this particular moment. We're going to do some new exhibits, and you can see them up here in order. Yes, we're going to do an exhibit not of Ernie Bach Jr.'s cars, but of Ernie Bach Jr.'s guitars. And we are very excited about this, as Ernie has an incredible collection. We're even turning Ernie, showing all of you that we can use artificial intelligence, and we've turned Ernie into a hologram. So he will be speaking to anybody who comes in this building for the next 100 years. We're also doing Daniel Kramer. As you all know, we were going to do Daniel Kramer, the photographs of his pictures of Bob Dylan in 1964-65, 2 years ago, and then a year later. And we had to postpone twice. Well, we're not going to postpone anymore. We're going to do it. We've entitled it Don't Think Twice, and I think that's an appropriate title. And then in March, we're going to do Arlo Guthrie, exhibit that we're creating, and we're very excited about these three. It is our future goal, part of FARHOF, that we do 3 new exhibits every year, and that's the goal that Bob and Dina and all of us are looking to do. We started a concert series, and since we reopened last September, FARHOF was involved with Jason Isbell, Billy Strings, Bob Dylan. Many of you were here for that. On November 8th, we're doing a sold-out show now with Marcus Mumford. December 3, we're doing the Allman Family Reunion, which I'm very excited about. I love the fact that Bert Holman, who manages the Allman Brothers, is on our board. But we're doing the family revival. It's all the kids. How cool is that, right? With a bunch of the Neville Brothers kids. And it also has Luther and Cody Dickinson from the Mississippi All-Stars that are part of our family here. And then on April 1, we're going to do a conversation with Arlo. This is important because we also deal with health here. Arlo had 2 strokes during COVID. One, well, let's just put it this way. He can still play the guitar and he can still sing, but he can't do them both at the same time. So we're having a show at the Schubert with the conversations and stories of which Bob Santilli is going to host as a part of FARHOF, and we will open his exhibit. But first I have to say thank you. And I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. First of all, the FARHOF Board of Directors, thank you for hanging in with us during COVID since we did this in 2019. We feel we're back and we're moving forward. I need to thank the boards of the Bach Center, but more importantly, I need to, and I don't know where he is in here, thank Mark Weld, our chairman of the board of the Bach Center. He's been my partner, my friend, and a true believer in what we're trying to accomplish here with FARHOF. I obviously need to thank all the staff. I also, just as importantly, need to thank the artists, the managers, the families, the estates, the world-class photographers that are in this room. Truly, this is your Hall of Fame, your Hall of Fame. I want to say a special thanks to David Bieber and David Bieber Archives, and obviously Alan LeQuire Galleries. But I also want to say a huge special thank you to Dina Mcleod and Bob Santilli and their entire team of the Museum Collective, and especially my new friend Jim French, but I don't see him here. Is he around here somewhere in the room? But Jim French, he's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He built everything, then came here on his own in a truck and lived here for 4 or 5 days with Dina and installed everything that you're about to see. Thank you, Jim. And I can't wait for all of you to see what Dina and Bob and the team have done to the 3rd and 4th floors. Our goal is to be recognized in the top 10, I wanted you to know, top 10 cultural attractions in our city and state, and soon to grow to be number 1. We're going to number 1. And to do that, we need partners. And that includes our elected officials. And we have 2 of them here today. And I'm thrilled that we have several of elected officials that want to be involved in that goal that we're trying to do. So the first one I'd like to recognize is State Representative Jay Livingstone. Jay represents the 8th Suffolk District, our district. Jay, would you mind coming up and saying a few words? And give him a round of applause. We want him to be a champion of FARHOF.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for being here and making this a reality. I'm incredibly excited about this opportunity for the Wayne Theater, the Bach Center, and for this community. You know, I'm lucky enough to live in this area and appreciate the rich cultural assets that exist here. And this institution is one that I've known since I was a little child, at that time coming into Boston. And as an aside, and one of the things that Joe mentioned that I think really needs to be highlighted is how engaged this institution is in drawing in the community, in all aspects of the community. My son is a first grader, and he was on a tour here of the FARHOF last week. He goes to school, a couple blocks from here in a school where I think 75% of the kids are get free or reduced lunch. And those are the type of people that may not always have parents bringing them to cultural institutions. And Joe and his organization is always bringing in every part of the city. This summer, he brought to the State House people who, high school students from around the city, to draw them into the arts and show them how to do the performance side and the management side. And it's great that there's another opportunity for him to educate everyone in the city, but also to have this memorial for some of the best artists in our country's history to be remembered and embraced, but also draw in people from around the world. And I'm excited to see the refreshed exhibit that my first grader has beat me to. And I hope you all are as well, and continue to have the state as a partner to provide the resources to allow this to continue. So thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all your support. I'll work on doing my part, but mostly I'm looking forward to enjoying this great idea as it's realized. So thank you.
Did you hear that, Mr. Chairman? His son had a tour by Scott last week. How cool is that, right? That's right. So my next friend doesn't need any introduction as far as I'm concerned, but Nick Collins has been a state rep here for years and years and years. Now he's a state senator. He's been a friend for a very long time, and he also is a champion of FARHOF. And so without further ado, Senator Nick Collins.
Thank you, Joe, and it's great to be here with all of you. I'm lucky enough to, like Jay, going to be representing the Wang officially as in my district come January, but I've always taken an interest in the theater arts and the creative economy since I joined the legislature, and that's because of family. And some of them are in the room, like my friends from Local 11, IATSE. Representing the workforce in the theaters has drawn me initially to take an interest in the Rasky family. another part of the reason why I'm here is Larry Rasky, who's a mentor of mine, and grateful for his leadership. Doing something that a lot of people in this room are doing, and Joe spoke to it. The creative economy here with the creative leaders and performers are doing something special here in the city. The reinvigoration of the Wang is no small feat after COVID. So I think it speaks to the commitment and the leadership to stick through that and come out of it with creativity on the reinvigoration. And I'm sure Jay would agree, Rep. Livingston would agree, that in a time of such division and consternation, we're looking for a little help. And I think your industry is going to provide a lot of that in a meaningful way here in Boston, bringing performers and people of goodwill all across the country here to be a part of this and to learn, to be educated. But I see it as a great economic benefit to the city of Boston and the state, and would love to see an annual festival take place, national festival here. And I did mention that to the mayor, who was interested. So we'll see what we can come together to do. But I think it's incredibly special for a facility like this, organization like this, people like this to come together, see what's great about an institution, not tear the institution down, but rethink it, leverage it for more people. As Jay pointed out, like this institution and others that are doing that here in the city of Boston. So we're grateful for that. You can continue to have an ally in me in the state Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you all. I also know we have a couple of people here from Senator Lydia Edwards' office she is our state senator as well, and they're Christian Golden and Benjamin Tayek. So thank you both for being here. I also want to say a very important partner for us is sitting in the back of the room, and that's Martha Sheridan at the Greater Boston Convention Bureau. They represent how we have to be able to start to market ourselves as a place that people want to come. And through her and through our partnership with Mass Travel and Tourism, and Gina, are you here from the Concierge Association? Yes, there you are. I can see you with the light. Thank you very much, along with the Hotel Association and the rest of our association that are here as well. Okay. It's events like this that, after you've been cooped up for 2.5 years, you probably talk too long. So it's time to listen to a few more people. Very important partners for us, and that's Bob Santilli and Dina Mcleod. Now, Dina, I told her she's moved into the DoubleTree Hotel down the street because when you get a chance to see what they've created upstairs, you're going to realize that it didn't take one day to put it in. Right? And she is a force of nature. And Bob, you are very fortunate to have Dina on your team. And with great humor and great style and great calmness, while my crew was calling me a nervous Nelly, Dina was always smiling, always going about getting what she needed to get done. And she actually finished on time, actually a little early. So we were able to get cleaned up for last night's sold-out concert. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Museum Collective, which are my friend Bob Santilli and Dina Mcleod.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, friends. I think Joe called me a force of nature because a few days ago we were having trouble getting a crate delivered from the other side of Boston. It was stuck in a distribution center for 2.5 days. And they said they didn't have a truck, so I rented a U-Haul and sent a guy to go get it. Because that's what you do when you're installing an exhibit. So I first of all want to thank all of you for being here and thank the Wang Theater, the Bach Center, the staff. This team is extraordinary. Mark Weld, the board of directors, Joe Spalding. The vision for FARHOF is incredible, and it is going to be a destination, no doubt. It's also going to be an incredible educational resource. you're at an advantage. The people partnering with you on this endeavor are educators. So everything that we do, everything we create has an educational focus. And I think that's hugely important as we are educating not just our young people, but the adults who, for whatever reason, don't understand the importance of the roots musicians, those people who came before us, Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, Leadbelly, Odetta, Oscar Brand. Those are the people who are not just links in the chain. They're the posts that are driven into the ground that the rest of the chain is linked onto. They are the creators, thank you. My friend Tom Wilkie, I'll always take that. They're the people who inspired countless activists, artists, musicians to find the power of their own talents, to find the strength, the power of one voice. And the power of one voice, when it joins with another voice and harmonizing, that's an unstoppable force. So our goals here are modest. We want to change the world. And that's what we're going to do. Right, Joe? Correct. Through education, through exhibits, through programs, the world can be changed. I'm going to borrow a little Joeism. And I love that on the signature line of his emails, he includes the message, art heals. It does. And the world needs it right now more than ever. And the way we do that is inspire new artists, nurture new artists, inspire young people to understand that they have that power to change the world inside them. They have important, beautiful things to share with us, and we're listening. So I love that we have this space for this. So since we are an educational facility, I must say that I gained an incredible we gained an incredible education about the diverse music that's come from Boston. The third floor focus is on that diversity of music that's come from this area. And we have been absolutely honored and blessed to learn from experts in a variety of different genres of music. Families who've been willing to loan us things and share stories. As we collected the stories of hip hop and classical music, as well as rock, bluegrass, blues, folk, jazz, all of the genres of music that have a little sampling on the third floor, we became educated and were able to then share those stories through this exhibit. And I see a lot of our lenders in the audience, family members. We've got some of the Seeger family here. We've got our friends from the Hip Hop Archive and Boston Symphony Orchestra. We're so glad to have you here being a part of this. This is just the beginning. I can't wait to show you what we've got in mind for the next few years. So I want to thank you all for your help in loaning us things, in sharing the stories, and allowing us to develop this theme and share it with the public. I will say, we were here last night whenever the crowd was coming in for the pavement show, and the foyer where the exhibits are, it's already gotten a great deal of attention. Folks are loving it, and they appreciate your stories. With this, the goal of this section on the third floor, again, is to celebrate the diverse music that's come from Boston. The fourth floor is primarily a photography exhibit to display some of the photos that have taken place in this incredible venue. Our goal is not to do anything to take away from this incredible space. I mean, why would you ever touch anything that is this glorious? But we want to add some different voices, some different themes to accentuate the importance of music and the arts. It will be a living, evolving entity. So congratulations on this new baby, Joe. She's beautiful. And what I hope, as we inspire a new generation, as we show the examples of those who've use their voices to affect change in the world, We also know that this is going to grow a collection for FARHOF. I brought a few of my friends here. So these are some of our legacy artists who will be featured in the Hall of Fame as we develop that. We have some donations from the Oscar Brand family. That is Oscar's very first 12-string Goya guitar. And the Seeger family has loaned us some things that are up on the 3rd floor, but we've also got Pete's shirt here. Our friend Tom Wilkie has donated this sign from Peekskill that Pete actually signed, noting that this is where stones were thrown from the Peekskill riot. So Tom Wilkie is here with us, the Seeger family is here with us, so thank you all very much for loaning us these items and for making this possible. And again, I'm going to borrow a Joeism because we all have heard this from Joe. My expectations, my hopes are that when you go up to these floors and see what is being created, that the thing that goes through your mind is, how cool is that? Thank you all very much. And I'm going to introduce my partner in this endeavor, Bob Santelli.
Thank you, Dina, and thank you, Joe. I'll be brief because I think Dina really covered it quite a bit, but a couple of things I just want to add. And number one is that when you start to see exhibits here, substantial exhibits, what you're seeing upstairs really is kind of like hors d'oeuvres, right? It's a sampling, a potpourri of what's coming. It's an honor to just get things moving here, but what's coming down the pike is far more substantial, far more comprehensive. Almost every exhibit that we do will carry these 3 themes. Every exhibit will inform, okay? You need to inform to teach people about the music, the artists, and this great American treasure that we have called music. The next thing we'll do is we'll interpret. So instead of just giving the facts, any high school kid could go online and learn about Pete Seeger or learn about Woody Guthrie or whatever, but to interpret their stories, to give them points of view, to allow these stories to breathe in a unique and different way. And the third, I think the most important, is to inspire. Right, so you walk through here, you could have been a lifelong fan of Pete Seeger, but hopefully we give you some new information or give you the impetus to go back and listen to some of the great songs that he wrote. Or it might be for 9th grader to first time hear this person called Leadbelly. So this is what we'll do on all of these. I've been in this business for 30 years as a former music journalist and then one of the original curators for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I have to say that my mission has always been, why do a museum? Why do FARHOF? What's the point of it? And the reason you do this is because, as we all know, our greatest cultural treasure, and you can ask not just Americans, but anyone else outside of our country, what is our greatest cultural treasure? And it's music. It's our popular music. You can go to Argentina and hear blues. You can go to Israel and hear folk. You can go hip-hop, rock, anywhere you want, and American music is being played. Well, these kind of places not only celebrate it, but it preserves it for future generations. So FARHOF plays a very, very important role in collecting and preserving and celebrating this great American music tradition of ours. We believe in FARHOF so much that now I'm going to take off my FARHOF Museum Collective hat and put on a new hat that I wear. I am the executive director of the Bruce Springsteen Archives and Center for American Music, which is now being built down in New Jersey, my home state. And it's going to be a very dynamic place, very close to my heart, having grown up there and being a music journalist out of New Jersey. But I can tell you this, that today an official announcement, the very first time we're saying this, but our affiliation status will be given to, the very first time, to FARHOF. So basically what this will do is it will bring together this brand new institution in New Jersey with this brand new institution in Boston, and together we'll do collaborative education programs, public programs, and exhibits, and we're honored to be part of that greater family. finally, I think one of the most important things that you can leave here with is the idea that tell people, become ambassadors for what we're trying to do here. This is a labor of love, I know, for Joe and his board. It's a meaningful one, but it's also something that we're all fans of the music for sure, but there are younger people, grandkids, kids, students, neighbors, etc., that really need to know about our great American music tradition. And a lot of it will be housed here. Boston has been a great music town, as you will find out, for a long time. You guys who grew up here know this already. But more importantly than that, to introduce new ideas, new concepts, to show how music has played a very important role in our political process. So many things to talk to young people about. That's what's going to make this place really important to the city and really important to America in general, as it joins with places like the Bruce Springsteen Archives, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Grammy Museum, etc., to tell this great American music story. So I'm excited to be here. I'm thankful for the honor to be a part of it, and we're going to roll up our sleeves and get this thing done in grand fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Dina. That was really great. I have one more speaker who doesn't need any introduction either. And we are thrilled that Don took time he's opening a tour in Connecticut tomorrow, and came to be with us today. And I've had the good fortune, along with another board member of FARHOF and Jack Randall, in talking about how we could create new proprietary programming for FARHOF in Boston. And he said, well, why don't we talk to Don Was? Now, for me, everybody, Don Was is like the best producer in the business, one of the finest musicians ever, an artist extraordinaire. Am I getting close now, Don? And I told Don when he arrived, we were upstairs looking at things, that, you know, he brought me to tears because his new documentary he did with Brian Wilson is just extraordinary. And so we plan on creating something together. And we're going to launch it this March, and March 23. And we hope, if we're successful at this, we're going to be doing this a lot of years together. So without further ado, please let me introduce you to Don Was.
Thank you, everybody. It's so magnificent in here. I hope that just because you live in this town, you haven't become inured to this place. There's nothing like it. I played here about 4 or 5 years ago with Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead. Played bass with him, and we absolutely fell in love with the place. Just to walk through here, to go out in the room, and even the stage, which I guess you'll all see a little later. It's incredible. You could stage anything in there, but to be on stage and to look out at this room filled with people, you play differently, you play better, and it's inspiring. Jack Randall and I, we come from Detroit, and it's a good town, and they have some nice theaters, but there's nothing like this, man. And it's unique to the world, and so this series of shows that we're going to put together for March, we're going to try to match the uniqueness of the Bach Center, the uniqueness of FARHOF, and really help to build something here. Hopefully we come back and do it regularly. I think you can have more than the top 10 attraction in Boston. I think it's as you pointed out, Bob, this is going to be a national destination for people who love music, and I'm honored to be part of it. We'll be announcing performers in the months to come, but thank you for having me, man. It's great to work with you.
As you'll see in the package, we're calling it Was Fest. which sounds like a great idea to me. And it's the first weekend in March, which is 3, 4, and 5, I believe, my team, I think that's right, and which is right around the corner. So we're starting to get going on this, and if we're lucky enough to get this off the ground, which we believe we will be, we'll be looking at doing it the first weekend in March continually, so we'd build that brand. So it's come time to go on a tour. It's come time to do that. And so I was writing it down. So how do I say to everybody, all you have to do is get up and go where you want. So you can go to the 3rd floor and see, you can ride our new elevator and go right up to the 3rd floor, or you can start on the 4th floor and come all the way down. Or you can go to the lower lobby and start in the lower lobby and look at the music hall and look at the cultural heroes, go back, get on our stage, which many of you have not done when nobody's here, which is a huge stage. You can even on the stage, I hope you will do something that's fun. We have a 360 photo booth. So there's a $20 guitar and a bunch of confetti, and you throw the confetti up, look like you were playing the guitar, the camera goes around you, and it sends the picture to your phone. And then you share it with the world, okay? That's what I want you all to do, to have some fun with this, all right? So you can go and do all of this thing. And one other thing, there's no time limit. So you want to hang out? There's wine being served on the 3rd floor, just in case you want to sip some wine, walking down, looking at all the exhibits that Dina and Bob have done. You can go anywhere in the building at any time. You will look for members of my staff that say Bach Center staff, and they will point you in the right direction. And the point of this is have fun. We want you to enjoy your new Hall of Fame. And thank you very much for coming.